Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring one of the most rewarding corners of the watch world, the brands and references that sit just outside the mainstream conversation, the names that serious collectors whisper to each other with the quiet satisfaction of people who've done the research and found something the market hasn't fully caught up to yet. These 10 watches come from manufacturers with genuine heritage, real technical ambitions, and compelling design identities that the dominance of a handful of famous Swiss names has historically obscured. This is a list for the curious, the thorough, and the independently minded. The watch buyers who measure value in character and provenance as much as price tags and logo recognition. Let's get started. Number 10. Bulova Accutron Spaceview Automatic. The Bulova Accutron Spaceview Automatic is the watch that carries one of the most genuinely extraordinary chapters in American watchmaking history on its wrist, and wears that history with a visual boldness that makes the story impossible to ignore. The original Accutron of 1960 was a technological revolution, the world's first fully electronic watch, powered by a tuning fork that vibrated at 360 Hz to regulate timekeeping with a precision that mechanical balance wheels could not approach. The Spaceview variant, originally created as a display model to show the movement to retailers, became an icon by accident, its exposed gear train and the distinctive hum of the tuning fork making it one of the most fascinating and distinctive watches of the 20th century. The modern Accutron reissue brings that heritage into the present with new electrostatic movement technology exclusive to Bulova, generating power from the natural motion of the wearer through an electrostatic energy harvesting system that has no direct parallel in watchmaking. The open dial architecture remains faithful to the Spaceview's defining visual identity, revealing the movement's architecture with the same theatrical confidence as the original. This is a watch with a story that no amount of marketing budget can manufacture, because it actually happened, and the Spaceview is the proof. The Bulova Accutron Spaceview Automatic retails for approximately $599-$699 USD. Number 9. Glycine Combat Sub Automatic. The Glycine Combat Sub Automatic is the Swiss-made dive watch that consistently rewards the collector who has moved beyond the obvious recommendations and is looking for something with genuine manufacturer heritage at a price that the famous names would never accept. Glycine was founded in Biel, Switzerland in 1914, the same watchmaking heartland that produced many of the century's most celebrated Swiss brands, and has spent over 100 years building watches with honest Swiss quality that its relative obscurity has kept persistently undervalued. The Combat Sub's 200-meter water resistance, unidirectional bezel, and clean, purposeful dial aesthetic establish its dive credentials without ambiguity, while the Swiss automatic movement inside delivers the daily reliability that serious watch buyers require from their tools. The case and bracelet finishing quality reflects a Swiss manufacturing standard that direct competitors from outside Switzerland charge significantly more to match, and the overall compositional balance of the Combat Sub, the proportion of dial to case, the taper of the lugs, the weight of the hands, speaks to design decisions made with genuine care. The Combat Sub is the Swiss dive watch for the buyer who has done the reading, rejected the obvious, and found something better hiding in plain sight. The Glycine Combat Sub Automatic retails for approximately $399-$499 USD. Number 8. Enicar Sherpa Super Compressor Reissue. The Enicar Sherpa Super Compressor Reissue is the watch that connects its wearer to one of the most fascinating and underappreciated chapters in professional tool watch history, the era of the Super Compressor case, when independent engineers developed a crown sealing system whose effectiveness actually improved under water pressure rather than despite it. Enicar was a Swiss manufacturer founded in Lengnau in 1913, and its Sherpa line equipped mountaineers, divers, and polar explorers during the golden age of mid-century adventure watchmaking, appearing on the wrists of participants in genuine expeditions that tested equipment to limits most manufacturers would have found uncomfortable to advertise. The reissue honors that heritage with the faithful reproduction of the original's distinctive design signatures, the double-crown case profile, the inner bezel ring, the cushion case geometry, while bringing modern movement reliability and improved water resistance to a package whose visual identity is unmistakably rooted in the 1960s. Wearing an Enicar Sherpa Super Compressor reissue is wearing a specific and genuine piece of Swiss horological history that most of the watch world has yet to rediscover. And that window of discovery, while it remains open, represents one of the most compelling opportunities in vintage-inspired watchmaking today. The Enicar Sherpa Super Compressor reissue retails for approximately $650-$800 USD. Number 7. Movado Heritage Series Automatic. The Movado Heritage Series Automatic is the watch that reminds a watch world fixated on the museum dial that Movado has a catalog history far broader, richer, and more technically varied than any single reference can represent. And the Heritage Series is where that depth of archive becomes accessible and wearable in the most directly appealing way. Movado's heritage stretches back to 1881 in La Chaux-de-Fonds, and the brand's pre-museum catalog includes cushion-case sport watches, elegant dress pieces, and complications of genuine sophistication that the museum's ubiquity has largely overshadowed in the contemporary market. The Heritage Series draws on those earlier references with a design fidelity that goes beyond nostalgic pastiche into genuine archival revival, offering warmth, character, and proportional elegance rooted in a specific historical moment that Movado occupied with real distinction. The automatic movement provides the mechanical heartbeat appropriate for watches drawing on a heritage of genuine craft, while the finishing quality and overall execution reflect the Swiss manufacturing standards that Movado's La Chaux-de-Fonds origins represent. For the collector who knows there is more to Movado than the dot, the Heritage Series is the place that story begins. The Movado Heritage Series Automatic retails for approximately $795–$995 USD. Number 6. Vulcain Cricket Alarm Automatic. The Vulcain Cricket Alarm Automatic is the watch that has an unbroken line of American presidential wear stretching from Harry S. Truman to Dwight D. Eisenhower to Lyndon B. Johnson, a provenance that is not merely a marketing talking point, but a documented historical fact that speaks to the cricket's combination of mechanical, distinction, and practical utility at the very highest levels of public life. Vulcain developed the Cricket in 1947 as the world's first mechanical alarm wristwatch, and the acoustic alarm system it engineered, using a perforated caseback as a resonating chamber to amplify the alarm's sound, remains distinctive and functional today in a way that many innovations of the era do not. The movement is a double-barreled automatic. One mainspring powers the timekeeping, a second powers the alarm, and both are wound by the automatic rotor, an arrangement of mechanical complexity and elegance that any watch enthusiast will immediately appreciate. The Cricket is a watch with a specific mechanical soul: the alarm's sound, the feel of the crown system, the knowledge of the dual mainspring architecture, that no amount of specification reading fully conveys until you experience it in person. As a piece of both American political history and Swiss mechanical innovation, the Vulcain Cricket is irreplaceable. The Vulcain Cricket Alarm Automatic retails for approximately $2,200–$2,800 USD. Number 5. Mido Multifort Patrimony Automatic. The Mido Multifort Patrimony Automatic is the watch that demonstrates, with quiet authority and complete conviction, why Mido deserves far more attention from serious collectors than the brand's position in the Swiss industry hierarchy typically generates. The Multifort name has been part of Mido's catalog since 1934. And the Patrimony variant is the most historically faithful expression of that lineage, a watch that draws directly on the cushion case design vocabulary of the original Multifort in a way that feels like archival retrieval rather than retro styling. The architectural detail-inspired design philosophy that Mido has applied since its founding by George Sharon, whose fascination with buildings led to watches inspired by the Flatiron Building, the Pantheon, and other architectural landmarks, gives the Multifort Patrimony a design provenance as specific and as genuine as any reference on today's list. The Caliber 80 automatic movement, with its 80-hour power reserve and silicon escapement for magnetic resistance, brings modern technical performance to a case whose visual identity belongs entirely to a more elegant era of Swiss watchmaking. On a leather strap, the Multifort Patrimony wears with a versatile distinction that makes it appropriate for virtually any occasion, and makes the question of why it isn't more widely discussed feel increasingly difficult to answer. The Mido Multifort Patrimony Automatic retails for approximately $795–$895 USD. Number 4. Certina DS Action Diver Automatic. The Certina DS Action Diver Automatic is the Swiss professional dive watch that consistently earns the highest recommendation from the segment of the watch community that prioritizes engineering integrity over brand recognition. And the reasons for that recommendation become self-evident the moment you examine what Certina has actually built. The DS double securities concept that has defined Certina's engineering philosophy since 1959 is not a marketing construct but a genuine structural commitment. Every DS watch features reinforced case construction and redundant sealing that provides a measurable margin of safety beyond the stated water resistance rating. In the DS Action Diver, this philosophy produces a 300-meter rated dive watch with a unidirectional ceramic bezel insert, a case construction that over-engineers the solution relative to the stated specification, and a Powermatic 80 movement delivering 80 hours of power reserve with a silicon balance spring. The engineering thoroughness of the DS Action Diver is the kind that reveals itself in long-term ownership rather than in the first hour of handling. The watch that simply never gives you a reason to doubt it, year after year. Swiss manufacture, professional dive credentials, genuine engineering philosophy, and a price that rewards the buyer who found it. The Certina DS Action Diver Automatic retails for approximately $750 USD. Number 3. Alpina Startimer Pilot Automatic. The Alpina Startimer Pilot Automatic is a watch that requires no apology, no context setting, and no qualification. It is simply one of the finest pilot's watches available at its price. From a manufacturer with a genuine and documented history in aviation timekeeping that predates most of the brands currently marketing aviation heritage they cannot fully substantiate. Alpina was founded in Geneva in 1883 and has been supplying precision instruments to aviators since the early days of powered flight, a heritage that the Startimer wears with a directness and confidence born of genuine provenance. The cathedral hands, the bold Arabic numerals, the superluminova-filled markers designed for cockpit legibility at altitude, and the oversized crown engineered for operation in gloves. Every design element of the Startimer exists for a reason rooted in functional aviation requirements rather than decorative styling decisions. The AL525 Swiss automatic movement provides reliable daily performance in a 44mm stainless steel case that commands wrist presence with the authority that a serious pilot's watch should carry. On canvas, rubber, or leather, the Startimer Pilot Automatic is the watch that makes you feel like you belong somewhere more interesting than wherever you actually are, and that is among the highest compliments a watch can receive. The Alpina Startimer Pilot Automatic retails for approximately $795–$895 USD. Number 2. Doxa Sub 300 Carbon Aquamarine. The Doxa Sub 300 Carbon Aquamarine is the dive watch with perhaps the single most compelling origin story in the entire category. A watch whose historical credentials are so specific, so documented, and so genuinely extraordinary that they belong in a watch museum as much as on a wrist. Doxa introduced the Sub in 1967 as a revolutionary professional diver's tool. The first production dive watch with a decompression table on the bezel, a feature designed by Jacques-Yves Cousteau's diving organization and adopted for actual decompression stop calculations by professional divers worldwide. The Sub was worn by the cast of the Sea Hunt, adopted by NOAA, and carried to depths that separated recreational equipment from genuine professional tools with absolute clarity. The modern Sub 300 Carbon honors that legacy with a carbon fiber bezel and case elements that reduce weight while maintaining the structural integrity that 300 meters of water resistance demands, while the iconic orange professional dial and distinctive decompression scale remain faithful to the original's functional identity. The aquamarine dial variant adds a depth of color that catches the light with a quality that makes this one of the most visually distinctive divers on the market at any price. The Doxa Sub 300 Carbon is not a watch that wears its history as decoration. It is a watch whose history is its engineering specification. The Doxa Sub 300 Carbon Aquamarine retails for approximately $190–$690 USD. Number 1. Nivada Grenchen Chronomaster Aviator Sea Diver. The Nivada Grenchen Chronomaster Aviator Sea Diver takes the top position on today's list as the single most fully realized expression of what the rediscovered vintage Swiss brand movement has produced in recent years, and as a watch whose name alone tells a story of ambition so comprehensive it borders on the audacious. Aviator, Sea Diver, Chronomaster. 3 distinct watch category identities compressed into a single reference, and Nivada Grenchen, a Swiss manufacturer founded in Grenchen in 1926, whose original mid-century production included some of the most capable and characterful tool watches of the era, delivered on every one of them simultaneously. The reissued Chronomaster Aviator Sea Diver is built on the foundation of the original 1960s reference that served pilots, divers, and chronograph users with equal conviction. A Valjoux-based chronograph movement in a case rated to genuine dive watch water resistance, combining complications and capabilities that the conventional category boundaries of watchmaking suggested should not coexist in a single instrument. The modern reissue applies contemporary movement reliability, improved water resistance, and finishing quality that reflects the revived brand's commitment to honoring its archive with genuine seriousness rather than superficial reproduction. The result is a watch with an identity so specific, a history so concrete, and a character so fully formed that it makes everything around it at its price look considerably less interesting by comparison. Nivada Grenchen is the brand that serious collectors discovered first, and the Chronomaster Aviator Sea Diver is the reason they stayed. The Nivada Grenchen Chronomaster Aviator Sea Diver retails for approximately $1,295 USD.